The following podcast is part of the Underdog Sports Podcast Network. For advertising information or to find more great podcasts, visit us at www.theunderdogsports.com and follow us on Twitter at RealTheUnderdog.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Atlantic Files, the number one podcast and the number one division in the NBA, brought to you by the Underdog Sports Podcast Network. This week, joined by just the two of us, myself, Alex Fishbein. We got Dennis Clausen, Mike Bash, MIA, probably because he's 0-4 in fantasy football, lost to both of us within the last 2 weeks. I mean, it's bad luck for him.
He just sucks. He doesn't want to show his face anywhere.
Exactly. He's in hiding now. He can't talk about how he's the greatest fantasy football player ever. I mean, even his team name now is 0-4.
Of course, if I had a face that looked like his, I wouldn't want to show it anywhere either.
I mean, that's a very good point.
You did beat my ass in week 4, though. I will give you that.
I mean, I was really nervous that whole time because
you should have been. That's a good team, man.
I know you were scoring way more than I was all the way up until week 4, so I was definitely nervous for it.
Damn DJ Moore.
Yes, my
you
savior.
Son of a bitch, you.
I was so close to trading him multiple times. I'm glad I didn't. But anyway, we are here for basketball talk. Preseason has begun. Our divisional preview series is still continuing as well. This week, we're going to do the Southeast Division. But before we get to that, let's talk some preseason. Let's talk some Kyrie Irving. Let's talk some Ben Simmons. But before we get real heated into the Kyrie Ben Simmons area, what have you watched so far in the preseason? What games have you watched? What's been catching your eye?
How about your man's Andre Drummond the other night?
He had a pretty good game.
I tell you. I mean, that looks like a really good pickup for the Sixers.
Oh yeah, I mean, especially coming off the bench, if he's going to continue doing that,
No. He is not coming out. He'll come off the bench, but I guarantee you, he's gonna get his starts in this season.
Oh, he'll definitely get plenty of starts. He'll probably get anywhere between 15, 20 starts.
Believe that.
Joel Embiid's there, so he'll definitely get some starts.
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything. I mean, we've already talked about street clothes. So my man's Andre Drummond, he was coming in hot the other night, 14 boards. I mean, he's a great center. I don't think a lot of people throughout the league really just. I think that's going to be a huge pickup for the Sixers this season.
Oh, for sure. I mean, one of the biggest issues they've had for ever since Joel Embiid is there is anybody good enough to keep the team afloat when he's not playing. So if Andre Drummond can do that, that's a huge win.
Well, yeah, I mean, if he plays like he did when he was in Detroit, that guy was the real deal back in Detroit. He's limited in some ways, but you're not going to get glass cleaning out of anybody the way you get it out of Andre Drummond. You might get it
for sure.
You might think of like Valanciunas as a good rebounder. Taj Gibson, guys like that are great rebounders. Drummond's as good as it gets when it comes to a guy. The fact that the Sixers got him and they have him coming off the bench when he could have easily started somewhere in the league is a huge pickup for them.
Oh, definitely. I mean, this is a guy that not that long ago was talking about getting max contracts and everything and being a superstar center and one of the best centers in the league. I mean, and not only that, he's just added more and more to his game. And I mean, he's a guy that I remember he was shooting only like 35-40% from the free throw line, and he's even improved himself in that area too. So, I mean, I'm excited for it. I mean, my expectations aren't sky high because I've seen him game planned off the floor many, many times, especially come postseason time. But I'm still excited, but I'm actually more excited about Isaiah Joe. He was looking pretty good in that first preseason game. The man was quick to fire. He's already exceeding my expectations as like I think he was the 49th pick in the 2020 draft. And he's looking like a solid rotational shooter that could be a piece on anybody's team right now.
Well, for one, let's like slow it down a little bit. It is only preseason. It's the first game of the preseason.
True, but it's fun to overreact.
Oh yeah, Scotty Barnes. I've been talking about Scotty Barnes for forever, and everybody's looking at me like I'm crazy, and I'm like, there's a reason Toronto drafted Scotty Barnes at number 4. Remember how shocked everybody was on draft night? They're talking about Scotty Barnes. They're like, and then all of a sudden, Scotty Barnes gets drafted. You don't draft a guy at number 4 and not have big plans for him, especially the way that rotation is in Toronto. You're going to expect guys like Kem Birch to stay healthy, or Pascal Siakam is not healthy right now. OG Anunoby's had issues staying healthy. This is a guy who I think is going to be in the running to be Rookie of the Year this season. Everybody was quick, and this is typical out of NBA fans. He can't shoot. He's a horrendous shooter. He had some turnover issues during the preseason, but the guy on the defensive end, he had like 2 steals, 2 blocks.
Yep.
I mean, that was as good of a showing as you're going to get. So
he was close to. Did he have a double-double, or he's close to a double-double?
I think he was very close to a double-double.
I thought he had somewhere between 8 to 10 rebounds.
Yeah, it was somewhere along those lines, but I was actually more impressed, and I was more focused on the fact his defensive efforts and the fact that he looked a lot better on the offensive end. And he looks like a guy who's just like beyond his years already.
Right. No, I completely agree. I think the thing that I really like about Scotty Barnes too is not only does he have the talent and everything to back up like the draft capital that was used on him, but his attitude, his energy, his like, this guy seems to genuinely just love his life, and you don't really see that out of a lot of people, even though these guys are multimillionaires. Like, he was, when they were introducing Goran Dragic came out and he was like, oh yeah, it's just another preseason. Meanwhile, Scotty Barnes is like going crazy. He's like, yeah, let's go Dragic. Like, he's jumping up and down, doing all this stuff. Like, this guy genuinely just looks like he loves life, and it's just fun to watch him.
Well, Goran doesn't even want to be in Toronto. I mean,
True.
Think about it. You go from Miami, you got sun, beaches, women, like you got it all, and then you're going to imagine getting that phone call and be like, you're going to Toronto.
And at least you were winning in Miami.
I'd be like, where's Ashton Kutcher? Somebody's punking me. So he's going from Miami, like probably one of the most beautiful places that you could ever go, and then you're going up north, and I think they already got 3 feet of snow yesterday. So I mean, he of course he's pissed off. He doesn't want to be there. I don't blame him.
Oh no, for sure. I mean, I was actually surprised that they didn't end up shipping him somewhere after that Lowry trade.
Oh,
I felt like there was rumors that they were shopping him, but I guess nothing just came together.
Oh, there were, and then there were teams that realized he can't stay healthy. We don't want that contract.
True.
We don't even want to take on that short amount of money for a guy who he can't stay healthy. When he does play, he's fantastic.
Oh yeah. I mean, as long as Toronto can keep him healthy for like maybe a month into the season, I feel like that's when the contenders might start inquiring about a trade for him.
They should just wrap
But
him up in a bubble and
exactly.
like FedEx him wherever he's got to go.
Or just do what OKC did with Al Horford. Just play him every like third or fourth game to get him out there, like see what he has, but also keep him healthy at the same time.
Yeah, I think there's more to come in that situation. Scotty Barnes, though, 13 points, 9 boards, 6 assists, 2 steals, and I think he also had a block in his preseason debut. That's big time right there.
Oh, yeah. That's a huge stat line. I love that. And I want to give a shout out to my boy from Pitt, Justin Champagny. He had a double-double for Toronto, undrafted. I've been trying to preach to people that Justin Champagny is going to be a solid rotational piece in the NBA, probably a bench 4, like stretch 4 kind of player, but solid first preseason game for him as well. I believe he had like 20 and 10, or he was at least close to it.
17, 10, and 3.
There we go. 17, 10, and 3. Yeah. I mean,
and he actually wants to play in Toronto.
Yeah, I know. There was the thing that came out that he said, like, oh, the moment I worked out for Toronto, I want to play there. And I was like, I haven't heard that, but hey, maybe maybe it's true.
Well, he's probably gonna be playing he's got some D League in him, or G League.
Probably.
G League.
Yeah. Yep.
I gotta say correctly.
Yeah, he'll probably. I could see him getting a 2-way contract, at least to start things out.
But yeah, I mean, preseason. I mean, with the season starting, it's almost right around the corner. It's a fantastic time of the year. We're still early in the season. Football, we got baseball ending up. We got hockey coming back. We have NBA is about to start, and I just love it.
It's one of the best times of the year. The other thing,
Thanksgiving's coming up. I love Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah.
In case there was any shock there about that.
I mean, just the fall in general is just a great time to eat and drink, if you ask me. There's so many reasons to drink.
Well, I mean, May is a great time for me to eat. I eat every single day I could possibly eat.
I mean, at this point, I'm just eating whenever. So
that a boy.
Proud
of you.
But the other thing I wanted to bring up was the Knicks. Julius Randle looked very good. He looked like regular season Julius Randle from last year. However, I thought it was interesting but also like very on brand for Tibbs to play him 30 minutes in the first preseason game. And Evan Fournier played 27 minutes and Barrett played 25. I was like, I mean, you definitely want to get them their reps and everything, but at the same time, these are like your top 3 franchise guys at the moment.
He don't care.
I know, but Tibbs is just kind of like, nope, we're running.
That guy is just relentless. This is what we will see. It's classic Tibbs. Let's run my starting guys into the ground. And then when somebody goes down, they'll just throw Taj Gibson or something in there. Like he does that's what he does. He just runs his starters into the ground. Like Mike D'Antoni did that a lot, back in the day with the Rockets. Let's play 7 people, and then everybody else could get like 30 seconds off the bench. So no, it's surprising because it's the preseason, but it's not because he's just gearing them up for what he's going to expect from them moving ahead.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I mean, Tibbs is gonna Tibbs. That's just kind of what it comes down to.
And Taj Gibson coming out with 14 points, 6 boards, a steal, and a block.
Him and Kemba together looked really good, and Kemba even talked about it. Him and Taj pretty much grew up together. He said that they used to play each other like neighborhood against neighborhood in New York. So the only thing with, like, I love seeing Kemba in New York because it looks like he genuinely just loves being there. The only thing that worries me is obviously Tibbs with his injury history.
Yeah, but
So
fortunately though they do have Burks, they do have Quickly, they do have Derrick Rose. So
true.
I think Tibbs is still smart enough to realize that you can't be rolling with this guy, 30 minutes a game, especially for a guy that's had chronic knee injuries throughout the year.
Yeah, I
He's
mean
gonna
that's what I'm
freaking kill
hoping
him.
at least. Exactly. I'm hoping he's at least smart enough to say, hey, like maybe we'll play him like, for the bulk of the season, like 25 minutes a game, and then once it gets closer to postseason, ramp him up. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah, nothing would make me happier though, man, than if Kemba Walker came back and played back at an all-star level. I'm really hoping that out of that for the guy, because you really
I
don't hear anything
completely
bad
agree.
about the dude. So I mean,
Exactly.
I just hope he plays. I hope he stays healthy. I hope he plays well.
Oh yeah, agreed. The only thing I have against Kemba is the fact that he broke Pitt with his famous step back at UConn.
Can you get over that? I mean,
The thing, every single March, that's the video that comes up. Everyone posts it, and I'm
should
like,
have should have stopped him. It's not his fault.
if I could have ran out on the court and just like fouled him before he even shot it, I would have.
Well, it's probably glad for your criminal record that you didn't.
I mean, that's a good point. I probably wouldn't be having this podcast if I did that.
Probably not.
But yeah, I mean, we got
Then
a
I'd
lot of
be
guys.
hosting, and I don't know what the hell I'm doing. So I could barely get through not hosting.
You'd be hosting, Mike wouldn't be here, then you would be all by yourself.
Yeah, Lord help us.
But there was a few guys that I liked how they played in the first preseason game. The Brooklyn Nets looked pretty good. Cam Thomas, how you feeling about him?
Honestly, I'm not even gonna lie. I didn't even. It was Sunday, and I was like
Mm,
totally. My attention was elsewhere. It's
I got you.
Sunday. Like I can respect the fact that we have NBA but it's Sunday, man. I ain't doing that
That's true. I mean, it's NFL
for
regular season.
for preseason. Yeah,
I mean,
sorry.
I went back and watched like the condensed version on League Pass or whatever. Um, and I will say that Cam Thomas, I mean, especially for where you guys got him in the draft, he's looking like he's probably going to be a decent contributor for the Nets off the bench.
Well,
Um,
who knows? He might even start. You know what I mean?
that's true, especially so. I mean, are we done with preseason talk? Should we just get into the Kyrie Ben
I was
Simmons
just gonna
drama?
comment on the Bulls, how good the Bulls look, but we got
Oh
plenty
yeah,
of time. We got plenty of time to talk about, you know, how good the Bulls looked. Alex Caruso looked better than ever. Um, I mean, that's just there. That's it. They look totally in sync. Alex Caruso looked fantastic at the
he
point.
did.
Um, Lonzo Ball finished, only had 8 points, but he did have 3 steals, 2 blocks. I mean, that's exactly what I'm talking about right there. I mean,
Yeah.
he had 8 points. Okay, now people are going to look at that, but he had 3 steals and 2 blocks, go along with 5 assists, 5 boards. I mean, give me a break with this guy. This guy's. I'll take 3 steals. I'll take two
Oh, of
blocks
course.
from a guard. Hell yeah.
Of course. And then on top of that, you had Zach LaVine with 25 points, but also 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals right on top of that, too.
Alex Caruso, double, 10 points, 10 assists. I mean, Alex Caruso, man, looked like he is he's you better watch out for him, because I'm telling you right now, this guy's got 6 man of the year written all over him.
Oh, completely agreed.
Mark
And I
that
mean,
one down.
we got it. We're clipping that one.
So we're saying here's Lonzo Ball, our all-star conversation. Alex Caruso, 6 man of the year. Who else was on my all-star team that you guys were?
You said Oh, there was somebody you just said. Well, no, one of your things was Bradley Beal is going to be traded to Boston.
Bradley Beal's going to Boston. So these are my things, and then there's a couple other guys on my all-star list that that we got to keep an eye out. But I think Alex Caruso's got 6th man of the year written all over. If he plays like that, which he's a great player. Yeah, he smokes a little grass every once in a while, but who cares?
I mean, at this point, I feel like almost every athlete does. So it's really nothing huge. Josh Gordon's back.
It's just crazy how the culture on it has changed. NBA's not just announced that they're not testing for that this season. Mm-hmm. So it's complete. If you look back at all the guys who've been smoking the doobie over the years, and now all of a sudden they're like, it's not even a big deal.
Yeah. I mean, as it should be, it's nothing it's like it's nothing, too crazy, too criminal. Man.
It's a plant.
Exactly. There's less things in it than a lot of the other medications going around. So
it makes you hungry. And I wouldn't do it because I'd probably have a panic attack. And I don't need a reason to eat anymore.
Exactly. I would just eat way too much if I did that. But yeah.
So yeah, it's Alex Caruso, shit hot. Yep. 6th man of the year right there.
Vucevic looked good. 10 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists. That was another guy that looked good.
That's not. I mean, he always looks good. He's just. He's fantastic.
I mean, you even had DeRozan with 2 blocks as well, on top of his 13 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. So, I mean, it just looks like the chemistry's already there, and they didn't even have Kobe White play yet.
Who's not going to be around for a while, but it's going to be.
Yeah.
Honestly, like Pat Williams wasn't there. He's dealing with an ankle thing. Kobe White's out. I think he's a wrist injury he's got going on. But this team, if you looked at the way they were distributing and the way Alex Caruso was just running things on the floor, I mean, oh God, tell me that's not a top 4 team. Give me a break.
They definitely looked like I would say even a top 3 team in that first game.
I mean, yes, they were playing the Cavaliers, but
yeah.
So I got to take it down a notch, but I'm still not going off the fact that if anybody has ever listened to this and they were like, Dennis doesn't know what he's talking about on Lonzo Ball. For one, I do know what the hell I'm talking about. 2, look at the stat line.
True.
3 blocks. I'll take it.
I'll take that any day.
But he shot 3 for 8. Screw that. Got 3 blocks.
Yeah, it's like cool. He shot 3 for 8, but Caruso scored, Levine scored, DeRozan scored, Vucevic scored. Like, he doesn't have to score, like shoot 50% and score 20 points.
And that's exactly what I was saying. He does not have to be involved. I said that a couple weeks ago, I think. I was like, he doesn't need to be involved offensively. He just does that.
Exactly. So we'll segue this again because I was just about to say that's the exact kind of team that Ben Simmons would need.
Yeah, I know. I just wanted to talk about the Bulls. That's all.
Oh, I know. I definitely feel that. But we will segue this. Let's start with Kyrie first because we were going to allude to Kyrie. So Kyrie still not vaccinated, standing his ground about not wanting to get the vaccine and everything. The NBA Players Association has come out and said, like, hey, like, we are just in the ground of that the league cannot force anybody to do something like get the vaccine, which is perfectly, I mean, it's understandable that you don't want to force people to do things. But so at this point, New York still has the rule that he can't play home games. He can't be at practices if you're not vaccinated. So everyone keeps saying like the doomsday scenario they're looking at right now is having him as a part-time player, only playing in games not in New York or San Francisco. So, I mean, I don't know what you do there. At this point, I don't, as if I was the GM and the coach of the Brooklyn Nets, obviously you want a guy like Kyrie still on your team because he's a tremendous talent. But if you're guaranteed only half the games, not even accounting if he gets hurt or not, I don't know what to do for that.
He'll play 12 games this year.
Yeah, especially if his injury history continues the way it is.
So yeah, here's the thing I was going to say. Everybody's going to go, he's going to miss 42 or 41 games, right? I go, he ain't going to miss 41 games. He's going to miss a lot more than 41 games. Just based off the fact that the dude can't stay healthy. And I know I talk about that all the time, but this is just and I'm going to walk around this lightly because I don't want to get into this discussion about. I'm just talking about him, Kyrie, and
right. We're not making anything political or anything.
No, but it kind of ties in with each other, so we might have to walk around a little bit. But all I'm going to say though is related to Kyrie. He's just a pain in the ass about everything. That's just, and we're also talking about a guy, remember, who was against going back to playing the bubble because of COVID.
True.
Remember that? He was throwing a fit about people going back playing in the bubble because of the pandemic.
Yep.
And now they actually have a way to fix it, or so they claim, by getting vaccinated. And now he doesn't want to do that. I mean, this just sums up what a pain in the ass Kyrie Irving is. And I said it at the start of the year, which he's another guy on my list, Spencer Dinwiddie.
Mm-hmm.
They should have kept him and got rid of Kyrie Irving's dumbass so fast, because this guy is, and this has nothing to do with the fact that he does not want to get vaccinated. That's his choice. I respect it, blah, 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 whatever. You know what I mean? Like, whatever. If you don't want to, that's fine. However, this just falls in line with all the things throughout the year that have made this guy's been a pain in the ass. There's nothing. He does weird shit. He says weird shit. He can't stay healthy. When he plays, he's awesome. But you got to be at the point now where you're like, and that's why I was like so against even Kyrie, or even if it meant not getting Kevin Durant, I was like so against him not coming to Brooklyn, because I knew his tenure in Boston was a shit show. His tenure with LeBron in Cleveland, there's all bullshit there. So every place this guy goes, he's just got to cause problems. And it's not, and this isn't, and before anybody says it's because he's not vaccinated, blah, blah, blah. No, it's nothing to do with that. It's the fact that he needs to be coddled all the time. They're even talking about, people were contemplating, even asking about the Nets moving practices out of the city so that idiot can get involved and play. But no, that's not how it works, man. Like, what other player, probably like 10 guys in the league, they might even contemplate having that question asked.
Exactly. But the thing is, all of those other players aren't on this other like mental plane, as Kyrie would probably call it, as him. Like, I mean, we're also talking about the guy, I saw someone brought this up on Twitter a little bit ago. This is also the guy that back in 2017, when Milwaukee used like their old school court, he thought they were actually bringing in the actual court from like the 1970s to play on. And he was like, oh, the court already feels different to me and all this kind of stuff. They're like, all they did was paint the court differently. This isn't the hardwood floor from 40, 50 years ago.
Right.
And we're also talking about the guy that said how the earth was flat. Like, we're talking, like, all these things that Kyrie has said is now with the whole vaccine thing is just like, well, this is how Kyrie's been. If I had to bet money on one player in the NBA not getting the vaccine before we even heard about any of this, it would have been Kyrie because of all of what he said already. So you're not changing the guy's mind is essentially what I'm getting at. Unless Kevin Durant and them go to him and say, yo, just get vaccinated so we can play and win a championship. I think that's the only way it actually happens.
I mean, isn't there some guy who could just sell him a fake card or something?
Probably.
I mean, and then here's the thing too. Remember last season, he came out and he was just, I need to take a break, and he was out for personal reasons, and then they find him at like his sister's birthday party, and then he went off the grid and nobody heard from him. And I mean, who does that?
I know.
And what kind of employer puts up with that?
Yeah, Brooklyn has put up a lot with a lot of that crap. And It's also just like if you really have like a mental health issue or something like that you have to take a break for, you can just say that, especially in this day and age when mental health is at the forefront of everything. You can just say, I'm suffering from a mental breakdown, mental health issue, whatever it may be. And like everyone would understand. It's the fact that you're just like, oh, I need to go. And you just are off the grid. Like, what are people supposed to think about that?
Yeah, nobody would even have said anything. I mean, people might have like broke his balls and everything about it, but I mean, like, look at Simone Biles in the Olympics. She was like, I just not into it and stuff. I mean, the way mental health is treated these days, and as it should, it's a very serious thing. And Kevin Love brought that type of stuff to the forefront, but the way, if I would have rather him come out and see that, but he just disappeared. He's like Houdini. Nobody knows where the hell he is.
Exactly. And I think that, like, combined with some of the weird stuff he said, he's kind of just hurting himself by not communicating like what he's even doing or thinking or whatever. And while I know there's gonna be a lot of people that say, well, he doesn't have to say like what he's doing if it's a mental thing. And it's like, well, he technically doesn't have to tell any of us. No, that's true. But as an employee with a contract, usually you got to tell your employer.
Yeah, you got to get a doctor's note involved in there or something.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But they just are they just coddle him. Every team has coddled him, but he's going to get to the point though. He's just not going to be. He's getting very like Ron Artest-y, and I don't like it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he'll be beta world peace.
The cuck world peace.
But speaking,
the flat Earth thing is probably like one of the most logical things the idiot has said lately.
That's definitely one of the most widely like known conspiracy theories that he's brought up. But
I just want him. I just want him gone already. It just, if I had a time machine, I'd be like, listen, you can't let Spencer Dinwiddie leave. You got to figure this out.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good thing you guys got somebody like Patty Mills. You got Cam Thomas now. You got those guys that at least will be able to fill in as a committee. And you still got Durant and Harden. So
yeah, I was going to say you and I could play, and as long as James Harden and Kevin Durant are on the floor, I'm sorry. As much as Kyrie Irving's a great player, they don't need that asshole. They can literally they'll shit stomp a lot of people based on what they're doing. Just those two guys alone. So.
Oh yeah, I mean Harden and Chris Paul got to the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah,
or second round or whatever.
And Kevin Durant almost beat Milwaukee by himself.
Exactly.
Because guess who got hurt again?
Yep.
All
so
right.
They don't
I'm gonna throw
need
up.
him.
Talk about mental health.
Well, yeah, talking about mental health, talking about being coddled, Ben Simmons.
Completely different. Don't even segue with that. Don't even.
It's a
Ben.
different mental health issue. It's a different way of being coddled.
Yeah, it's
but
called
it still
bullying.
relates. Whoa.
It's called bullying.
Ben Simmons was coddled all the way up until the boiling point of the series against Atlanta. And I'm not saying the fans coddled him. The Sixers organization coddled Ben for the longest time. They would get the players that he wants. They would fire the coach if he wanted that. They would get rid of the players that he wants. They tried putting more and more shooters around him because they knew Joel Embiid obviously is going to be out a lot of games. They tried putting a lot of things around him to make it work. They tried getting him better coaches, everything it may be.
They don't know anything. They don't know anything.
But that's the fact of the matter, though. I'm not saying they did the best job of it, but that's what they were trying to do.
Well, I mean, I could try to lose weight by eating 5 slices of pizza instead of 6, but it's not good.
Well, I mean, it wasn't that bad of a job. They got some great teams around Ben Simmons, and they got this team to, I mean,
They what?
They
No,
put some good teams around Ben Simmons.
they did, but look at all the other shit they screwed up over the years. Jimmy Butler wanted nothing. Jimmy Butler wanted nothing to do with that place. Trust the process.
That was partly because of Brett Brown and Ben Simmons.
All right, well, trust the process. Jahlil Okafor, Markelle Fultz, Noel. Who else do we got here that's on that list of trusting the process, and that really worked out for him? And now Ben Simmons is going to be on that list of trusting the process. There is no process.
Well, I mean, the whole process was just to get as many chances at a superstar draft pick as you could. That's really all the process was.
Wait, they got the Celtics. The Celtics swiped Jason Tatum right out from underneath them. They fell for it. They had the Sixers believing so bad that they were going to take Markelle Fultz, and they fell for it.
Oh, they're I hated
fell
Brian
for
Colangelo.
It. I mean, so come on, like throughout the years, this team might be one of the most horrendously run franchises going.
Oh, no, trust me. There has been a lot of mishaps that have especially pissed me off throughout this whole journey from tearing it down until now. And it definitely all starts with the fact that, you have Sam Hinkie getting forced out as the GM. It all starts right there that everything started going downhill. When you bring in Brian Colangelo, guy had burner Twitter accounts and was talking trash about his own players.
He's trying to motivate him.
Yeah, exactly. That whole thing was dumb as it is. Then you finally make some very good moves in bringing in Butler and Tobias, and you have this really nice, supporting cast around your two guys, Simmons and Embiid. And then this whole time, Butler is mad because Brett Brown is coddling some guys compared to others, and also that he just can't work with Brett Brown anymore. So kind of gave them an ultimatum, like, I'm either leaving or you're getting rid of Brett and Ben, because the only guy he talks nicely of when he talks back on the Sixers is Embiid.
Yeah, because he doesn't want to get his ass kicked.
Embiid couldn't kick anyone's ass. He would get hurt trying to do it.
Yeah, but I mean, he looks tough. At least he's 7 foot tall, 7 feet tall.
True. I mean, he's a big frame. But so yeah, I agree that the way that things have been going, the way that it has been running, is definitely not ideal at all. But I don't think that means that they were being hard on Ben the entire time. The only time they actually started like saying anything about Ben was the end of last season. They were never talking trash on Ben. They were never trying to say like we can't win with him, that we can't do this with him, we can't do that with him. All they tried to do was get him a shooting coach and like work with him throughout that whole time, and they were just unsuccessful, partially because maybe they didn't try hard enough, but also because Ben refused their help multiple times.
Well, here's the thing. So, and I said this before, and I'll say it again. When they drafted him, they knew. I mean, you can only make a guy develop so much from a shooting aspect. He's not. He's not going to come out and be an elite scorer. He's like Alonzo Ball. It's like telling Lonzo Ball that he needs to be the elite scoring option on the team. At least Chicago's smart enough to know, hey, this guy's not really a good scorer, but he's giving me 3 blocks, which is something that Ben Simmons is certainly capable of doing on a consistent basis. The guy's a double-double guy, triple-double threat all the time, steals, blocks. He can't shoot to save his life, but we knew that, and they knew that. So now all of a sudden you're gonna pass the blame on Ben Simmons. Shouldn't be the guy who. It's like Draymond Green, right? Draymond Green's a better shooter than Ben Simmons, but Draymond Green is not there. He got a max contract. He's not there though to be the number one scoring option. He is surrounded by good players.
Right.
That would be like Draymond Green, like not shooting, and they're going, why isn't the guy shooting the ball? Well, he's not that good of a scorer. And Ben Simmons is in the same boat. He's not that good of a scorer. He's never going to be that good of a scorer. Did he pass an open layup? Yes. Looking at the situation, do you can totally relate and understand why the guy was doing the things he was doing. I mean, he's still a young man, and there's only so much people can take. He gets heckled constantly by the trash in Philly, and he doesn't. Of course, he's not going to want to shoot the ball. He's scared to death. And then Embiid's on there, Embiid's indirectly saying stuff about him. Of course, I wouldn't want to go back there.
Oh no, I'm like, of course, at this point you don't want to come back. I get it now. Like at this point, the relationship is completely broken. Like you just can't go back. That's all it is. But I'm just saying, leading up to that point, there's fault on both ends, on Ben and on the Sixers. The big thing for me is Ben just refuses to help himself in this situation over and over and over again. Like, even if Ben just hit free throws, the whole city of Philly would not be anywhere near as mad at him as they would be.
But maybe he just can't.
Just hitting free throws.
Maybe he just can't do it. I mean, we don't know. We don't monitor him. He's not a shark in the Atlantic Ocean with a tag. We don't know where the hell he's going, what he's doing. For all we know, he could be right now shooting free throws.
He could. I mean, he definitely could be. But I'm just saying, like going up to that point, like just attempting more shots and just making free throws is essentially, from a fan point of view, from all the Philly fans that I've encountered, from the people that I was sitting around at the game and everything, all they've wanted is him to attempt the shots and make free throws.
Why? So he misses them and then they heckle him?
No, because all they want him to do is at least keep the defense honest. Like when you bring up Lonzo Ball, Lonzo can at least hit threes. He can hit shots. He does take shots. So the defense can't play 20 feet off of him and clog the whole thing up for the entire team.
Yeah, but why would you even take shots if you're not going to make them?
But that's the thing. If you start taking them as a professional and you at least know like you're going to take some shots, they're going to start falling at some point. If you're a professional basketball player and you're practicing this every offseason.
Yeah, but there's only so much. But bottom line, what it comes down to is that they screwed up in Philly, and I know the Philly fans, they don't know what they got because when it's gone, they're going to be sorry that it happened.
Oh, tremendous player. And I
And,
think
when I
like,
mean they, I mean you, because you're included in that group of assholes.
I've always supported Ben. First,
No, you have not. Every time you come on here, you don't support him.
I have supported Ben up until he's been an asshole himself.
I don't blame him for being an asshole.
I do when you even refuse your own players to come talk to you. Your own teammates.
That ship has sailed. I don't stand your ground, Ben.
But anyway, let's get in finally to the divisional preview. We're looking at the Southeast. We're going to probably go through the Southeast pretty quickly because there's really not that many teams that are super exciting. I mean, there's a few, but we'll see. Anyway,
no, there's
Southeast,
there's two.
Yeah,
Let's be honest.
Agreed. Southeast last year, they finished in this order. It was Atlanta, Miami, Washington, Charlotte, Orlando. Atlanta obviously being that dark horse playoff team that got all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals. And it ties right in with what we were saying because that was the series that kind of sent the Sixers spiraling down. So let's start bottom up again, just like we did last time. So we'll start with the Orlando Magic, a team that still looks hopeless. They've looked hopeless for the longest time. The only time I've ever had really any hope for Orlando was back when Dwight Howard was a Defensive Player of the Year and an MVP candidate. Last year, 21-51. Again, not much to write home about. They traded away their best player. Vucevic is now in Chicago, as we talked about. Last year they had a Rookie of the Year candidate in Cole Anthony, but he had some injury issues. This year they add Jalen Suggs, they add Franz Wagner, Jason Preston. They also got in that trade with Vucevic, they brought in Wendell Carter Jr. They also have RJ Hampton. Jonathan Isaac has been off and on, hurt all the time. So, I mean, my expectation for them is much more of the same. They're going to be bad, and they're going to be at the bottom, and they'll be in line for another top pick.
Did you say anything about Wendell Carter?
Yeah, I just said that they got him in the trade.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, Orlando, though, is still one of my favorite teams. I mean, throwback to like 95 starter pullover Orlando Magic. Like everybody had one. Of course, I was too chubby for it, but everybody else had one.
Of course.
Yeah. But they got a lot of good young players on that team. And Cole Anthony, man, he was the real deal when he was playing last season. I mean, he finished the year 12.9 points, 4.7 boards, a little over 4 assists. Shooting percentages, not really horrendous, but they could have gotten better. But
yeah,
he played well enough to he certainly surpassed expectations. And then before going down with that knee injury, Markelle Fultz was starting to play really well and started to look like the guy. I mean, Fultz averaged 12.9 points last season, which was a career high. Yes, he only played 8 games. Shot nearly 40% from the field. 3-point shooting is garbage. 5.4 assists, a steal a game. I mean, so he was playing at. I mean, that was improvement right there.
Oh, big time.
And he had some games where he was, certainly. He had a 31-point game against the Cavs, a 35-point game against the Thunder. So he was having some good outings throughout the season. So,
oh yeah, Markelle looked very improved, and I was really upset that he went down with an injury. Markelle's actually the guy that I've been confident in since day one, and even through all this weird injury stuff that he was in the Sixers and then being shipped off. Like Markelle is just somebody. He's one of those guys that you just have a feeling about, but you don't really have all the stuff to explain why. It's just a gut feeling. He's always been the guy that I have a gut feeling is going to end up being a good NBA player, but he was proving it up until he, went down with that torn ACL. But and Cole Anthony, I agree with you. He's a very, very good young talent for them. He was actually a guy I put money down on to win Rookie of the Year before the season started last year, but obviously being hurt and everything, that didn't work out. I am a little curious, though. Jonathan Isaac does look good whenever he plays. I don't know if he's ever going to stay healthy with all these major knee injuries he's had.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, and another guy, Mo Bamba, just hasn't, reached the potential yet, or has even scratched the potential of what everyone thought of him from the beginning. And then my other thing is, I just thought it was weird that they drafted Jalen Suggs when they have a ton of guards. Not saying that they're all going to be, all-star caliber guards, but you got like Jalen Suggs, RJ Hampton, Gary Harris, Fultz when he comes back, Michael Carter-Williams, Cole Anthony. I mean, you got a lot there, but in the big man department, you got Wendell Carter, Mo Bamba. They now have Robin Lopez and Jonathan Isaac, like I just said.
They have the Wagner boys.
True, they did get the Wagner guys.
The Wagner boys, no joke for those two. Those two guys they kind of like the same guy almost, kind of like the same skill set. That European lengthy shooting. You know what I mean? So, like those are two. Like I like how they're on the same team. That's kind of fun, actually.
Yeah, no, that's actually really cool to be on the same team. But yeah, I mean, all in all, I still see them at the bottom of the standings.
Let's not forget about the fact that they're going to suck, but
yeah,
at least
they have some exciting prospects.
They do, but
yeah,
not going to be that exciting in Orlando.
Well, yeah, not exciting in terms of wins, exciting in terms of what they could turn out to be finally, like 5 years down the road.
I mean, as much as I love Mickey Mouse and Pluto and Dumbo, I have no confidence in the Orlando Magic as an organization to do anything right.
Oh, completely agreed. I mean, it's just like, again, the last time they were relevant was Dwight Howard.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been a while. But moving on to a little bit more of an exciting and young team, Charlotte. I like what Charlotte has going on. They are a fun team to watch. Even last season, they were a fun team to watch, even though, I mean, they won 33 games, so they won a decent amount. They weren't anything crazy. LaMelo Ball, exciting. Miles Bridges, just the pure athleticism has been exciting. Gordon Hayward started to look more like the old Gordon Hayward a little bit. They also brought in Kelly Oubre. Terry Rozier is still there. They brought in Ish Smith now. PJ Washington is looking pretty promising. And then they drafted James Bouknight, Scotty Lewis. Again, some exciting guys. I honestly think they'll probably end up around the same. I think that they'll end up around anywhere between 32 to 35 wins. But they'll at least be fun to watch when you just want to watch some like exciting passes or some dunks and some closer games. I still think they'll be fun to watch, but at the same time, it's not going to amount to wins.
Well, the big thing though is they lost Devontae Graham, and I think that's huge right there. So just based off of that alone, I see regression. I see going back the other way. Devontae Graham is a better player than than he's given credit for. He's not on my all-star list, but he's a guy who could. He's a guy who could be like hanging out at the party, watching all the other cool kids drink, and but like he's got a beer, but he's not. He's just circling.
Right.
That's probably
like
happened.
Tobias Harris was last season.
Yeah, that happened to Mike a lot too. They didn't have any friends, but Gordon Hayward. I mean, his days are over. But I think the biggest two guys on this team that you got to look out for are LaMelo and PJ.
For sure.
I mean, LaMelo, had it not been for that injury, I mean, he was playing well beyond his years, and that just goes to show how valuable it is for you to be skipping college, going to play overseas and things like that. I mean, LaMelo Ball averaged nearly 16 points, 6 assists, almost 2 steals a game. Taking it.
Oh yeah. I mean, it was pretty much everything that was advertised about LaMelo Ball. It like everyone kept saying LaMelo was going to be the best Ball brother coming up, like the younger one was going to be the best one. And from everything we saw, from all of his highlights from middle school, high school, the overseas stuff, everything, I mean, it was exactly like what I expected of LaMelo Ball is exactly what happened. And I mean, this kid is just going to keep getting better. And if he can bring like a Lonzo Ball type of defense with the kind of offense that LaMelo Ball has, that's a great package of a player right there.
Yeah, but what he does bring is a different skill set, but it works for him just fine. So it's going to be interesting to see where's Kelly Oubre at. Like, is he going to be like the Kelly Oubre from like the Washington Wizards days? Or are we getting a Kelly Oubre who just completely can't, a guy who, I mean, he's a good player, but are we going to get like the good version of Kelly Oubre, not the watered down version of,
right.
I mean, he's had some of his best stats over the past couple of years, but I think he doesn't have that same, when he was in Phoenix, probably were his best years, but ever since then, he just doesn't have that same, but if he can find his rhythm and stay healthy and things like that, this is a guy who can be hanging out with Devontae Graham and watching the other guys at the party drink.
Right.
Like
he just has to stay consistent.
Right, which he can't do. That's the problem.
Yeah, exactly. Because, I mean, even in Golden State, he had games where he put up 20 to 30 points, but that was 1 out of every 7 or 8, 9
Yeah,
games.
and then he's like he can't stay healthy. I mean, the health is always an issue with him, so.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I mean, at least with this team, he's not like expected to be like a number 1 or 2 guy. Like, obviously, LaMelo, PJ, Hayward, like those are probably going to be your top 3 guys. Even Terry Rozier in there too.
They should trade Hayward for Ben Simmons.
I mean, I probably wouldn't do that straight up if I was the Sixers. I would probably ask for something else, but
obviously.
But that's not terrible.
Watch it happens tomorrow. Then I'm going to look like a genius.
Well, like especially if you said like Terry Rozier and Gordon Hayward for Ben Simmons.
I would seriously consider that.
I would too, to be honest. So we might be onto something. We might be onto something here. We might have to call Daryl Morey.
I don't know, because the last couple things that I feel like we've been saying has come out. I forget the last thing that we said, but I was like, weren't we talking about that like 2 days ago before anybody else was talking about it? I forget what it was.
It's a funny thing on this podcast. A lot of predictions do end up coming true.
except Joe Harris prediction.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's Mike's own fantasy world.
Yeah, so I mean, I have a lot of predictions here. Lonzo Ball, All-Star, Spencer Dinwiddie, All-Star, Beal to Boston. What the hell else was on my list?
Devontae Graham, almost All-Star.
Right, hanging out at the party.
Yep.
So
Hayward for Ben Simmons now.
Alex Caruso, most improved
Sixth man of the year.
Sixth man of the year. So I mean, we're on to something.
Exactly. So let's move on. Let's go to the Washington Wizards. So
yeah, please, because I got apple crisp in the fridge and it's taunting me.
Yeah, we've spent too much time on the bad teams. Washington Wizards 34-38 last year. They got through the play-in tournament, played the Sixers first round, lost 4-1. Everyone knows. They ship off Russell Westbrook. He goes to the Lakers. Bradley Beal, for now, still in Washington. Obviously, a lot could go on with that. Your prediction going to Boston. And they have guys. They brought in Spencer Dinwiddie. They still have Hachimura. Montrezl Harrell is there now. Kyle Kuzma.
Well, we don't know about Rui because he's on a sabbatical right now.
True. They kind of don't know where he is.
Corey Kispert's been playing great in camp per reports.
Yes. Thomas Bryant still waiting to see when he comes back. Denny Avdija, I think he's still hurt too.
Yes. But nothing serious.
Yeah. So I mean, this team is a very good mid-level team. They're going to be right on the cusp of making the play-in tournament.
Nah.
You don't think they could make like a 10 seed?
Well, yeah, I suppose we put it that way.
Yeah, I see them battling for the 9-10 seed.
That's what's going to make a difference on this team is whether Kyle Kuzma can actually play like he thinks he's capable of. Like he doesn't have any excuses anymore to suck.
Like how he thinks that he's the equivalent of Jason Tatum.
Right. So now it's time for him to shut the hell up and actually do something. So he has all the opportunity in the world right now in Washington because Lord knows who knows what's going to happen to Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal's going to miss some games. So now's the time for Kyle Kuzma to put up or shut up. Yeah. Shit or get off the pot, man. Like you don't have any excuses anymore because over the years you heard, LeBron, Brandon Ingram, okay, well, you don't have any excuses anymore.
Exactly.
So this is it.
It's Beal, and Dinwiddie. So
right. If Kuzma doesn't get his shit together, then he's almost falling off the bust cliff. He's almost a bust. Mm-hmm. So if he doesn't do anything this year, then the book is closed on Kyle Kuzma.
Agreed. To me, if he puts up anything less than like 12 points a game, I'm calling him bust.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Like, even if he puts 10 points a game on like 42% shooting, whatever it may be, he's still a bust for where he was at and for what his expectations were. And especially to come out and say, I'm on the same plane as Jason Tatum.
Crack.
Exactly. That's like Vince Young dynasty level.
Right.
So you gotta do some backing up. Now I will say he comes out, plays just as good as Jason Tatum, you can tell every single person to shut up for the rest of their lives.
But he's not going to.
Oh, I completely agree.
I was gonna say, I mean, he's gonna come out and say, I'm just as good as Jason Tatum. You know what the hell you just said?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're talking about a guy top 10 maybe in the league.
Exactly.
Depends on who's doing the list.
Probably could win a scoring title at some point in his career and could also be an MVP candidate at some point in his career.
Right. And you're coming out, you say you could be as good as Jason Tatum.
but also has shown no signs of being even close up until now.
Well, come on, he's playing with LeBron, so I mean, he was,
Yeah. He played with
that's
Ingram and Lonzo before that too. So
but well, this was, shut the hell
But
up, Kuzma, you bum.
in that case, let's move on from Washington.
But I just wanted to say real quick, it's just going to
yeah.
be interesting when Thomas Bryant comes back, how that whole Montrezl Harrell situation is going to play out. Okay, moving on.
Agreed, because Bryant should get more of the chances. So moving on to the Miami Heat, 40-32 last year. I mean, they had the surprise finals appearance in the bubble, and then last year, not so much. Obviously, solid team. They add Kyle Lowry. They still got Butler. They got Bam Adebayo. They still have, they still have Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson. A lot of solid players, a lot of good players in their actual roles. They got shooters in there. They got defenders. Victor Oladipo is still there too. I mean, he's still hurt, but we can see what might come of that if he can somehow get healthy and even get up to like 75% of the level that he's usually at.
He's
That's
there
a
in spirit. He's there in spirit.
Yeah, true. But yeah, I mean, this team is probably going to be good. Championship good? Probably not. But I'd put him at like a 6, 5, 6 seed.
Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, aren't they built to be more than that?
Like, they're supposed to be.
Aren't they supposed to do more than what? I mean, when you're saying like a 4th or 5th seed, like, aren't they supposed to be like we're Eastern Conference title contenders type of conversation? You know what I mean?
I mean, they're definitely supposed to be, and that's what they thought they were going to be, especially with this whole Kyle Lowry deal.
Well, I mean, that's the way people treat them. I mean, they yeah, there we go. So they act like the whole Kyle Lowry pickup is going to be, a huge thing for them. So, but just the way that they should be in the conversation. Well, a lot of people put them in the conversation of, being in the easy. So basically what happens is that the Heat are good, and when the Heat are good, they're like, oh, we knew the Heat was going to be great, and then when they suck, they go, they're only good in the bubble.
Yeah, exactly.
I was just going to say, though, I mean, Tyler Hero, who you is, dog, look at him, 26 points last night, or Monday night, guy bulking up in the offseason. That's going to be...
Yeah, he even said that he's trying to make people remember who he is because his sophomore slump was not great. But especially with how fast he came out the gate in his rookie year, he does have some proving to do to make sure it wasn't just a spoof of a year. So, I mean, he did look good in that game, so I'm very curious to see how he continues. And even Duncan Robinson and Max Strus, those two together as the shooters on the team, alongside the rest of the team that they have, I'm liking what they got.
Me, though, personally, I think Tyler Hero is a better player than Duncan Robinson is.
Oh, completely agreed.
But everybody just acts like Duncan Robinson is a better player. I don't think he's a better player than Tyler Hero is.
Better three-point shooter? Sure. But the rest of the game, definitely not.
Right.
So.
What did I say? He had 20 what did he
26
have?
26 points, I think you said?
Yeah, 26 points, yeah. Ain't bad.
Yeah, no, that's solid. Definitely can't be mad at that.
No, and Lowry, what did he have? Throughout 14 minutes, 5 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists. Nothing exciting. Actually, what everybody should be more excited about is he didn't get hurt. So, yeah.
That's true. That's very true. Yeah, I mean, this team, they're gonna be good. They're gonna be in the mix. I I just don't agree with everybody that says they're a championship level team.
I also got vanilla ice cream for that apple crisp.
Oh, okay. So let's move on then. Let's go to who they played against on Monday night, the Atlanta Hawks. So Atlanta, I mean, I destroyed expectations last year. Nobody expected them to go to the Eastern Conference Finals. 41-31. Trae Young pretty much had like his own coming out party, especially against New York in that first round series, and then again as the villain against the Sixers. This team just the moment this team catches fire, it like all bets are off. They can beat anybody in the league because they have shooters all around, especially starting with Trae Young. I mean, you got Trae, you got Bogdanovich, Clint Capella for the defensive end. John Collins is a solid player. Gallinari, always the nice vet to have in there. The one guy that they were missing for a lot of the season, who actually gave them good minutes though, DeAndre Hunter. Cam Reddish looked pretty good in their preseason game, also improving. Lou Williams, always one of the best six men you can have there.
Mr. Sneak out of the bubble, go to a strip club.
He needed some wings.
Hey. I cannot fault him there at all.
Exactly. I mean, if you need wings, you need wings. Oh, and how can I forget Mr. Rick Astley himself, Kevin Huerter. The team is good. I'm curious to see if they can. I think it all depends how the seeding shakes out again. Like the seeding that they got obviously is what allowed them to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. If they face Milwaukee or Brooklyn before the Eastern Conference Finals, they're not getting there. But the fact that, they played the Knicks, a team that just made the playoffs for the first time in a long time, that helped them get through there. They played the Sixers, which just became a dysfunctional team and all sorts of drama. So then they played Milwaukee, and obviously they played Milwaukee. They still took a couple games, but the better team obviously won. I think they get up to a 4 or 5 seed again, but I probably see a second round exit.
So really this team is I think it's really gonna come down to health for them.
True.
At anything. Bogdanovich had knee issues in the postseason. Clint Capella had issues staying healthy. DeAndre Hunter, and also not only that. Okay, so it's going to be big if those guys could stay healthy, because if Clint Capella could stay healthy, he's kind of established himself as a top 5 center in the league. Can I say that? No, who cares? I just did. So I'd say he's top 5. If he's playing at his best, he's top 5.
I would give you top 10, but I wouldn't give you top 5.
All right, so we have Jokic, Embiid, Vucevic, Cat,
Anthony Davis.
He's not a center.
I mean, he technically should be.
I don't count that. All right, I'll say top 7.
Yeah, it's a stretch, but I'll give it to you.
All right, so Clint Capella, though, if he's at least top 10 center. And then really, like, John Collins, like, what kind of John Collins is going to be around? Like, he needs to be a little more consistent than he was last season.
Agreed. Mike likes to say I'm a John Collins hater, but I'm just like, John Collins is good. But that's it. He's good. He's not great. He's not
as good.
He's not an all-star. Like, he's good.
He's like a Tobias Harris. Not as good.
Exactly.
But he still doesn't have a better defensive rating than Julius Randle.
That's very true. He does not. Oh, God. Good old Mike. But yeah, I like this team. I mean, the team's essentially the same as last year. They really didn't add or subtract much to this team.
And that's cool though, because the chemistry is there.
Oh yeah, the chemistry is going to be great. They'll have a full season of Nate McMillan as head coach, and I just think that like with the chemistry and everything, I think the team can stay pretty much where it was at from last season. But I just still don't see them beating Brooklyn, Milwaukee. If Chicago plays the way that they played in that first preseason game, I don't see them beating Chicago in the playoffs. I mean,
you better recognize Chicago. You better recognize
they got talent. The East is deeper than it has been in many years.
Giggity.
So I just don't see them getting past the second round. But
no,
they're still going to be a good team.
Well, what the hell do we know though? They could.
I mean,
there's a lot of variables in play.
Just like this past season. I mean, nobody saw that coming. So
right.
I'm still curious to see Trae Young finally play with the new foul call rules. How they're not calling the fouls where you jump into the defender and when they hook with their off arm and everything.
It didn't work out too good for Steph. Yeah, Steph. It didn't work good for him. It's going to be interesting.
Steve Kerr was laughing about that.
It's going to be interesting to see how Harden does, how he does with that. Harden's made a living doing that crap.
Oh yeah, and Trae Young just pretty much was a prototype of it.
And then Harden just goes to the free throw line, but he actually makes those things for some reason, and then he goes to the free throw line and he'll go 18 for 19 on the night from the free throw line.
Yeah, exactly. But at least the thing with guys like Harden and Steph, we've seen them light up the scoreboard even without that. So we know that their scoring abilities can do all that. I at least still have to see that consistently from Trae Young. I know he can score. Guy's a great scorer.
That's why it's.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that's why it's funny when people are like, "Oh no, wait till this new rule goes in effect." Steph's, I'm like, bro, that dude could hit from half court consistently if he wanted to.
Exactly.
He could shoot from the logo. Yeah, stupid shit.
I know. Like him and James Harden are going to be perfectly fine. Even though James Harden has made a living off of that kind of stuff, Harden can do anything he wants on the offensive end, whether he has to get a foul doing it or not.
Yeah.
Yeah. The issue with Trae Young is he's small. He's not as strong as a guy like James Harden, and he's not as good of a shooter as Steph Curry. So I'm curious to see what happens with him.
I mean, Trae Young just shoots 39 shots a game, which is, his percentages aren't the best. Right. I mean, I think during the postseason, I think he did like 20. There were games I looked at the box scores. I'm like, it was 26 attempts, 25. I'm like, holy shit, this guy.
Yeah. I mean, he was just chucking a lot of the time.
Straight up chucking.
So I'm curious to see it, but should be interesting. But I think that's it for us. So you can get to your apple crisp and vanilla ice cream.
Yeah, Philly vanilla.
Oh, Philly vanilla! I'd never even heard of it.
Yeah, it's vanilla. It's got vanilla bean pieces in it. So I'm not all hating on Philly.
Well, I mean, we know at least you like the water ice. So
cheese, steak sandwiches,
Philly cheesesteak.
Philly cheesesteak sandwiches.
Steak sandwiches are the cheesesteaks you get that aren't in Philly.
Yeah, no, the Philly cheesesteak's fantastic. I went to that one place where they're rude to you. You know what I mean?
I think it's called Dick's, isn't it?
Hey, much the language.
I think it's called that. I don't know. But yeah, no, I definitely know what you're talking about. But yeah, I think that's it for us then. We will catch you guys next week. Mike might be here. We'll see if he I don't know. He might lose in fantasy again and might not want to show his face again. So
he's like James Harden. He only shows up a couple, when he wants to.
He's pulling a Kyrie right now. So
yeah. What did I say? James Harden?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's stupid. I gotta go. I gotta get to
I knew what you meant.
Yeah, I gotta get to that apple crisp, man.
Oh, for sure. But that's it for us. Thank you, everyone, for watching another episode of the Atlantic Files, the #1 podcast and the #1 division in the NBA, brought to you by the Underdog Sports Podcast Network. Make sure you like, subscribe, share it with a friend, post it on all your social medias. We appreciate all of that. And if you haven't done it by now, it literally takes like 30 seconds, probably less.
Less.
So just click all the buttons down low, and it helps us out. So we appreciate it. Thank you, everyone, and we'll catch you guys next week. Peace.